Welcome again to this series of reflections which we have been making together now for the previous months. We're now up to number 7. This series has gone under the title of Now. And if it's the first time you're joining us, you might like to go back and see where we have travelled in this journey for the last 6 months. Today I'm asking you to stretch your imaginations and begin by thinking that this could possibly be a Persian carpet. Persian carpets have a reputation, a well-deserved reputation through the centuries, of being of exquisite design and colouring with superlative craftsmanship. You probably, or you may have seen one. I wonder if any one of us has ever owned one. Quality always has a price. But the real price of the Persian carpet is in the message it gives us. Traditionally also, we're told that the man or woman who produces the carpet, the artist, the craftsman, always makes a mistake somewhere, always leaves a flaw, an error, somewhere in the carpet or the rug, to show, yes, surprisingly enough, that it is a genuine Persian carpet. Isn't that a wonderful idea? Also, fact or fiction, we're told that the artist, the skilled craftsman did this to remind us and to remind himself or herself that we are not perfect and we cannot produce perfection. Only the one who is the source of all is perfect, can produce a perfect piece of work. For us, there is a flaw everywhere. Good. Finding perfection by experiencing its opposite, imperfection. That's something worthwhile reflecting on. We can only know one of the pairs of opposite when we have experienced the other. And that's why in the original Vedic literature, we always get the advice to go beyond the pairs of opposites. It's reminiscent of something we were talking about a little earlier in the series. The Christian mystic who declared that we have to go beyond mind to all that lies beyond mind. And here we're told to go beyond the pairs of opposites. The pairs of opposites run all the way through the life experience, the life journey of all of us on this planet. The most basic, the most fundamental is that of light and darkness. Because our globe is constantly revolving on its axis and going in orbit round the sun, our source of light, we go live life here in a completely rhythmic cycle of light, darkness, day, night, dawn, sunset. And so if you are about 40 years of age, those of you who are watching this reflection, then you have gone through this rhythm of light and darkness about 14,600 times. No wonder we're so used to it that we don't pay any attention to it. But we can't escape it either. It is the rhythm of life, light and darkness, light and darkness. Because it's our most fundamental experience of the pairs of opposites, we've tended to use it as our most powerful symbol in life. Because in the light we can see and interact more clearly and we hope, more effectively, more positively with our environment. We can build up a stronger relationship with the world we can see, because we think that in seeing we can understand. Our experience of darkness, on the other hand, is one of perhaps not knowing quite so well, of not feeling so secure, whereof light means activity and interaction, darkness means waiting and insecurity or uncertainty. And how many of us as small children were taught in some way to fear the darkness, the physical darkness, the psychological darkness, spiritual darkness. Now, we hear our world is in crisis. A crisis in which all experience is getting darker. Darkness at every level. And what is crisis? Well, it is a time of insecurity, a sense of imbalance. The old solutions to the normal problems of living here are no longer effective, and we haven't yet found new ones. We know that we're all looking for a peaceful, fully joyful way of life here, a relationship that is deep and rich and encouraging with each other and with the universe, with planet Earth and all the forms of life on planet Earth. We all want that, but we haven't really found it, have we? Periods of darkness follow our periods of light as regularly as the periods of night and day. At the moment, we're searching for the light. All seems new. We're being constantly reminded that we're turning into new human persons, new human beings. The reference could be to changes, physical changes brought about by discoveries and research in the medical field. You know, we hear the sort of hallowed hush that we could have 3 people involved in a human DNA, a single human DNA. We now have the ability of detecting part of our genome that carries physical handicaps or disease. And we have the skill to chop that bit off. You know? We've heard all this. The human being is the human being of the present and of the future going to be physically different to the human being we have now? We have to take those questions a little more seriously. We got used to the idea that when we started playing computer games or games on our cell phone, the prediction was we would grow a different sort of thumb in the future, or an extra thumb or something. Well, we've gone a little bit beyond those stories, but the genome, a third person in the DNA before conception, or being able to remove that part of the genome of a person responsible for a physical handicap, a hereditary disease, finally being stopped, of passed on from parents to children. Well, and so on. Certainly, technology, the development of communication technology, the skills, the power that we have now the intellectual growth. They're certainly developing aspects of the human person psychologically that we hadn't done until now. But it's not really new, you know. We have been developing our creative imagination, for example, over the centuries. Just as from when we began to first develop self-reflective consciousness. But there you are. All things are new. And the old solutions to everyday problems are no longer effective. We have to look for new ones. And in the interim, while we're still discovering them, there's a sense of insecurity, perhaps imbalance. Contemporary situation of crisis. The symbol of the darkness for periods of crisis. It's interesting that a popular singer in the Western world, who was popular, first became popular a few decades ago, died recently. And one of the songs that has been revived has become extremely popular again, simply because it seems to hit the point of where we are in crisis. You may or may not know the song, but the line that's important to it is this: forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. But that's how the light gets in. It's reminiscent of our Persian carpet, you know. It's the flaw, in that case, the deliberate mistake that is the hallmark of its genuineness. And here in this song, it is the fact that darkness is never complete. There's always a crack somewhere. And in looking at the crack, we find a way to the light. Wonderful. Perhaps then we should take the words of that song a little more seriously. If we're looking for peace and harmony and the fullness of life on this planet as we live together, we should stop, in one sense, looking so hard at the darkness, at the things that are going wrong, and start looking at the light that is getting in through the cracks in the darkness, because they are there. One of the problems that many parts of the world, and certainly all of the Western world, has at the moment is coping with a sudden movement. It's the normal movement of migration, which we've also talked about a little earlier in this series. Migration, asylum seeking, and the number of refugees. Stop looking at the difficulties we have in coping with the numbers and the redistribution of food and resources, which certainly is in imbalance on this planet at the moment, and look at how the light is coming into the lives of all of us through this. There are people who are being forced to realize just how fortunate and secure their lives are. Those parts of us who live in a world, part of this world, social media, where we're not facing war, and we're not facing famine, or water supplies being short. We're not facing the fact that millions of children around us, just millions, will die of starvation within a number of months. It's helping those of us who live fairly secure and comfortable lives to be shaken free of the dangers, the lethargy that comes with this. You have examples from time to time. I remember one that came to me some months ago when I was talking to some people from Italy, South Italy, who at that time was gasping for breath, as it were, under the wave of refugees that were landing by sea on their shores. And I spoke to one of the women there, an older woman, and she said, when I asked her, what do you think of this refugee crisis in South Italy? She said, it's the best thing that could have happened to us. I said, oh? She said, yes. We've had to get up and do something, not just talk about it. What she had done with 3 of her friends in South Italy was open their homes to young mothers who were refugees and said, we've brought up our children, we know what it's like to get the meals ready, to keep the children clean, to keep them happy and working and so on. Now these mothers have none of our opportunities, so we brought them into our homes and said, okay, you get on with what you need to do and we'll look after your children. And she said, we've all come alive again. I said, one very simple example, but it could be multiplied almost indefinitely. The fact that the refugee crisis was in many parts of Europe an overwhelming challenge has been a flaw that has brought light, genuine hope, not only into the lives of those who are refugees, but those who were just far too comfortable in their own way of life, had forgotten how to share and appreciate their way of life. And so now everybody is getting a little more share of the fullness of life that we want, all of us want. That's just one example we've had recently. We now know how much our understanding of the vastness of this universe has changed in the last 50 years. Since we're out there in space, we're learning incredible things. The size is overwhelming. The power is overwhelming. Any idea that we can control this universe has really been knocked out of our imaginations. We know what we didn't know even less than a century ago. We now know, for example, that 99% of the universe is not light, it's darkness. Along the decades into the present day, we have discovered things like black holes, dark energy, dark matter, collision of galaxies. We've just talked about the big crunch, or whether we'll all just disappear. The new cosmology, or rather the simple understanding of our minuteness in this vast universe, has brought with it a new respect for human life. Yes. In this vastness, we are so minuscule, and with our intelligence, we are so powerful. Human life has an enormous dignity, and that is the light that is coming through the cracks in our ignorance of what this universe is really like. With that, of course, has cracked a lot of our ideas of what the source of the universe is like. The older images for God that we had, which were good for their time, we have also had to let go. Many people are frightened of the darkness that they feel is overwhelming them in the insecurity of losing the former trust in those images. That God, by whichever name, can be imaged this way. We have also grown, more recently, to understand that whether we were making this journey right back from the beginning through the exploration of philosophy, and then later through the exploration of physics, both physics and philosophy have brought us to the same place. Mystery. We simply will not know it all. We will not experience it all. We are not total mystery ourselves. We're body, psyche, transitory being, come and gone the next day. But we are also mystery. And where the old images for the mystery we've called God, by hundreds of names, where the old images have gone, it's not darkness, it's light that is coming in. And we can go on and on and on. The purpose of our reflection now, at this point on our journey, is to stop looking at what has to go, of what is not helping us to reach out to the light, and look more carefully at the ways in which light is beginning to flood our lives, give us new, more effective symbols, images, answers, as we try to live with mystery, the mystery, in a new way on planet Earth. When we do that, we will re-find the purpose of our existing. We will re-find each other and how to live together in peace, joyfully. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. But that's how the light gets in. And of course, in our exploration and our questioning, we have to begin with ourselves. Perhaps for the weeks ahead now, until we go into the next of the series, we should just take this one question. Where is darkness in my life? And where are the cracks? And am I exploring the light that is coming in through the cracks in my own darkness? It was a sentence that many in the Christian tradition will remember. Do you not know that you are the light in this world? I think with just that one sentence we'd have more than enough to carry on our reflection. You are the light in the world. I am the light in the world. The light is within me, and am I letting it through? Am I closing myself in insecurity and fear of change? Am I building psychological walls to protect what? My power, my authority, my physical comfort zone? No. It's all new. Face the newness, look at your darkness, find the cracks, and expand them to let the light come into the world. Because you are the light of the world.